Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Betty, and in this channel I share budgeting videos, and we budget under a one income only, that is my husband's income, and we get paid bi-weekly. So we do paycheck by paycheck for now, and this is a completely new system for us, and we've been doing it probably since August, I believe. August, September, October. I think we got more serious in September, and we wanted to try this out for this year, for the remainder of this year, to see how it would work for us, so we can have an idea where our money is going, so that we can budget better and save more money and pay off my husband's student loan way faster than he had intended to do it. All right guys, so in today's video I wanted to share with you guys our plan for our debt payoff. And in case you guys are new, I mean, this channel is fairly new, and I think I only talked about our debt maybe in my first financial video. It must have been in my lifestyle channel, but I don't think I ever disclosed the amount that we have. What I want the most out of this is to like see if we should do it a little bit different, so that we can get there faster. This is what we're gonna start doing, because and see how it goes. And actually I didn't think we were gonna do this already this year. I thought it was gonna start until next year, that we were gonna increase our pay, but I had to like do this several times before actually showing it to you guys, and I had to show it to my husband, and I didn't try to convince him, because it's very hard to change someone's way of doing, especially when it involves someone else's money. And that is like something that my husband struggles with. And finally this year, he has, by me like talking to him a lot about budgeting and sharing these videos of budgeting, my husband is like very easy to talk to about money. Before, it wasn't easy to talk to him about money. And I actually found Dave Ramsey. We had the Dave Ramsey's workbook, and we had it over more than a year, and my husband never touched it. I had told him to buy it because I wanted him to read it, so that he can like listen to someone else and not just rely that I'm the one making up the stuff. And I actually haven't read his book either, but he never touched it. And finally he started to open it and to read it, but it's just a workbook, it's different. And he said he was just reading over like pretty much of like your stubborn habits. And we were at a thrift store the other day, and I told him, let me go into the book section and look to see if they have Dave Ramsey's book on the baby steps. And sure enough, it wasn't in the first thrift store that we went to, because we were looking for Halloween costumes when we went. And then we went to a different one, and I happened to find it on our way out, and I was like, you need to get it. Well, I didn't actually tell him you need to get it. I asked him like, look, I found it, do you think you will read it? Because if you're not going to read it, then there's no point in buying it, even though it was only like $2. And then he's like, no, I am gonna read it. So we ended up getting it, guys. We got it for $2 at Goodwill. I think it was Goodwill. If not, it was Savers or some thrift store. But anyways, I want to get started with our debt. And as of right now, that is how much my husband owes to his student loan. And this is actually the only loan we have. I don't have any loans of my, I don't have any loans for my part. And my husband, like, we own our cars, we own everything we have. We do not have mortgage either, so because we are renting. So this is the only thing that he has. I do not have a student loan either. I paid off my student loan, my car, like right away as soon as I got him, within like a year or two. And my husband has had this for years, and he was only doing minimum payments until like when I got started to write. I had been telling him for like ever, all the time. I always preached to him that he should give more than just minimum payment. I think even my mom preaches about it like all the time. And he just never did. And until this summer, I went over like expenses, and I just laid out some like our budgeting, it was just a rough draft of like the summer, and I told my husband like, you need to give way more money. I think I ended up calculating like how long it was going to take him if he kept paying like $25 towards it. And he was like, oh shoot, like no. He's like, yeah, I definitely need to give more. He decided to give 175 starting, I believe, August. So this was the total amount from September. So in September we had, I want to put here for the rest of the year, I'm just going to put here September, October, November, December. The whole plan of us doing this budgeting was to, in hope that we would get extra money left over each month so that it can go towards the loan. But because this is completely new, we are still not there. Hopefully we can get there where we will have rollover money to give towards the loan, or maybe we should just cut on certain things and not include them. I mean, I don't know. So the way my husband was paying, he was giving $175 starting, I believe, August. So here the remainder of that was 175 is 2782, and I believe the minimum payments are like $25 because I think that's how much he was paying before. So 20 divided by 175 is 119 payments, and then that divided by 12 months, it will be 9.9. So it will be, this plan would take about 10 years to pay off, and that was his goal. So he's like, you know what, I can do it in 10 years. That would be great, because I had done like this whole calculation that I'm about to show you guys. And he's like, okay, I will increase it to 175. But now he has changed that. So I had done this, and I told him, okay, look, if you keep paying this, it's going to be 10 years. So he was fine at the moment in September or in August when he decided to do that. And then recently I actually laid out another plan to him previously, I believe in the month of September, and I told him, look, if you have $20,957 and you give, and I'm gonna round this off to 350. I told him, like, look, if you give $350, you will be done in 5 years. And he's like, he was like, I don't know if I can give $350. And I told him, okay, look, and because his goal is 10 years, my goal is to do it under 2 years. But I was like, you know what, I'll meet you in the middle and do 5 years. So that would be 5 years, it would be $350. If he does it in 2 years, which it probably would be too much for us at the moment, but I still wanted to show it to him, divided by 24 months, because that's 2 years, he would have to give a total amount of $873, and it would take him 2 years to pay this amount. Now, this is all like a rough estimate, right? And then I told him, look, this is how much it would take you. Now, my husband and I, we both have a joint account in our individual savings accounts. He has his own personal savings account, and we have a savings account within our joint account. So I told him, look, we have already a certain amount of money saved together, that we have both saved together when I was working, and then he's pretty much the one who's been, when I was working, I was the one putting more money than him. Now that he's the only one working, he's obviously the only one putting money towards it. And then I told him, look, how much money do you have in your personal savings account? And then he told me the amount, and I was like, how do you feel about giving either all of that or a portion of that, either 50%, 25% of that towards your loan? And he was like, I don't know, like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, it's so hard for my husband to save money, and for him to have saved the amount that he has saved, it's like a big deal for both of us pretty much. I am like so happy that he has that amount, because before he wouldn't be able to save absolutely nothing. Like I would ask him, how much money do you have saved? And he would be like $500. The most he would tell me would be like $1,000, and then it would be gone next trip. So finally he has done some of the methods that I have told him to do, and that has helped him a lot in saving more money. And he decided, I told him, look, if you give, how much money do you feel comfortable giving towards your loan? Because if you just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, you're never going to get rid of your loan. And he just feels like this feeling of like, oh, I'm just wasting my money because it took me so much to save this amount of money that it just hurts to give it away towards a loan that is not my money. And I told him, well, it's not your money right now, but it was at some point, and you made dumb decisions that got you to that position. Even though it is a student loan, like he still made dumb decisions because he had no reason to have a student loan whatsoever, but he did. And so now we have to deal with it because he didn't deal with it on his own. But anyways, I told him, how much money will you be willing to give towards this loan? He said, and I told him, look, if you give $5,000. So I told him, like, look, if you give $5,000 by the end of this year, or whenever you want to, because I'm like, you can pretty much do it. I told him, like, but I just don't want it when someone is so difficult to, when someone has a lot of money issues, it's easier to go like baby steps at a time, like little by little, so that you don't scare that person away. So I told him, like, look, if by the end of the year you give $5,000 towards the loan, that will decrease your loan. I was like, you will be left with $15,000. So now $15,000, you divide that into 5 years. So that's 60 months. That decreases your payment to $265, and you will be out of debt in 5 years. That would take you 5 years. Now, if you feel like that is still too much for you, then 15,057 into 2 years. Actually, that's probably the least amount of money. And I'm like, because I'm always pushing it to be 2 years or less. So I told him, like, look, if it's 2 years, you have to give $664 to be out of debt in 2 years. And he obviously, this large, the 2-year plans, it for him is just too much, since we're only on one budget, since we're only under one income for a family of 3. And I know it's doable, but you know, if you guys understand, when you're dealing with someone who has issues with money, and I just really do not want to scare my husband away, and I really want to stay on track, so I really want to succeed with this plan. So I'm like, you know what, fine, 5 years is completely fine with me. But when I showed this plan to him, he was like, okay. And he just said okay throughout the whole time. He didn't say, okay, yes, I will give 5K. Okay, yes, I will give a certain amount of money. He did not agree to anything. He was just like, okay, I hear you. And then during our trip to Omaha, Nebraska, we had a 3-hour drive. And we were talking about a lot of stuff, and then I told him, he actually was the one to tell me, take out your budgeting notebook and start budgeting the travel so we can see how much we spend. So I did that. And then while I finished that expense, I went again into this page, which I have it open back here, and I told him, look, this is how much you have in debt. And he said, we were talking about like finances, and actually it's something, like I said, something very easy to talk about now, and it doesn't get, we don't like, it's actually very exciting to talk about budgeting now, and he's totally into it. He said, you know what, I was giving 300 and something dollars when I had my car payments. He's like, I don't see why I shouldn't be able to give $300 for the loan each month. And I was like, okay. okay, I am totally on board with this. And I was like, okay, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I asked him, like, when did you stop that payment and this and this, and I'm like, how come you never kept giving that? Well, actually I didn't, because I know the answers to this. And I was like, yes. I was like, a loan, you should see it like that. If that's how you want to see it, then great. You should see it as something that you want to pay off and get rid of completely as soon as possible. And he's like, you know what? And then once we got here, he's like, you know what? I am going to do that. So then I touched back with him just yesterday or today, and I asked him, like, I want to make sure we're gonna go through this. So when do you want to start giving $333? In November, which is the next paycheck, the next month, or December, or like when? And he's like, no, I want to start already in November. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. So now we're gonna be giving $333. And the reason, I guess, why he decided to give that, he's like, you know what, I am getting a raise and we are doing fine, so that raise is going to be going into the loan payment. And he's like, so it shouldn't hurt us in any way. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So then if we give $303, we are pretty much back to over here around this type, because we have 20,607, or actually should do this the other way. $303 times 60 payments, 62 months, which will be 5 years and 2 months. That's how long it would take us. So we went from a 10-year plan, which was way longer before this payment, into a 5-year plan, roughly a 5-year plan. Now I told him, look, and then I was like, yes, I agree. So then in the car while he was driving, I was doing all of this stuff. So I told him, look, that is great, because even then, if you're giving $303, what if you still give the $5,000? So I told him, look, I was like, if you give $5,000 towards it, and then this will be, we're back here, right? 2,607 minus $5,000. I think I said 15. You're left with 15,607. And then this amount of money divided by, then I told him, look, if you have $15,607, and if you give $5,000, and if you still want to do a 2-year plan, then you have to give $650, and you will be done in 2 years. But of course, that always seems too much for him. So, or maybe just the thought of 2 years, I don't know. So I told him, okay, look, if you divide it by 5 years, you are left with $260. So I was like, if you give $5,000, that means you have to give a minimum payment of $260 to get out of debt in 5 years. $15,607 is what we have if we give it $5,000 towards it, divided by $333. That means that by giving $333 plus $5,000, we will be out of debt in 46.8, so I guess 47 months, which is the same thing as a little bit less than 4 years. So that is so far what we have for right now. I do hope that my husband gets the $5,000, but even then, I feel like with this amount that we're giving right now, it's a 5-year plan, pretty much. That's what we're on. And as we keep on budgeting for our income, and if I do go back to work next year, then obviously this can probably be paid off way sooner and way faster. But for now, this is our plan, that we have to pay off this loan. And I know I've seen so many people with so much higher loans, and they give like thousands of dollars in payments monthly, and I like applaud you guys, because that is just amazing. Like, there are so many YouTubers that I watch that are very, very great and very strict with their budgeting, and I admire them, because it takes a lot to cut down on certain things and not to have certain things to be able to pay off the loans. And that is why I try my really best to not get into debt, but things can always come up, and that is why it's very important to have an emergency fund, so that you can have something to back up on, and in case there's emergency situations, and so that you don't run into like a credit card or into loans, and instead of going to those into that direction, you can use your emergency money or your savings money to cover that. So this is what we end up with. And I guess my question with this, by me sharing this, is what I wanted to know is, what would you guys do? Do you guys, if you have your personal savings, would you give your entire savings towards your loans? Or let's say you have $5,000 in your savings, since that's what we're using here. Let's say you have $5,000 in your savings, and you have this much to owe. Would you give like half of that, the entire 5,000, or 4,000, and stay with 1,000 to be like your emergency money? Because I actually started reading Dave Ramsey's baby steps, and I read baby step 1 and 2, and he says that if you make more than $20,000 a year, then you should definitely have $1,000 as an emergency. We have way more than $1,000 as an emergency. I feel like you need to have way more than $1,000 as an emergency in case you lose your job, like me. Like, I do not have a job, but I have enough money to cover me for the years that I want the me off. And then, I mean, I have my husband also, who supports me a lot. So, but we also have like emergency money in case health things come up or family issues come up. Then, you know, we have money that can back us up. And we obviously do not want to give that amount of like that money away into this, because this is like individual loan, and it wasn't a loan together. I feel like this is my husband's responsibility to take care of, so he should have done this way years ago, and he didn't. So that is fine. We are here today, and the only thing that we can do today is to move forward and get rid of it now. So yeah, what do you guys like suggest? So do you guys suggest for him to use up his entire savings, or just a portion, or whatever he's willing to do? Like, for this case, hopefully by the end of the year he'll be willing to give 5K, and it will get down to 4 years. And then also, because we're coming to the end of the year, now that we have my son, we get a little bit money back. I think it's just like $1,000. But do you use your return to pay off your debt, to put it as a debt payment, or do you use that to like into your sinking funds? Because I feel like my husband has been the main provider for the past 2 years. So I feel like telling him to use that return money and use it completely to pay this. I mean, not to pay this. Obviously, it's not going to be $20,000 that we get back. I wish, but no. I think it's just $1,000. So it would go into this and then knock off maybe like 3 months. So then it would still be for around 4 years, like 3.5 years probably. If you stick all the way to the end, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you are new, I hope you subscribe and give this video a like, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. And I am actually going to be sharing with you guys a giveaway. I have been doing this cash envelopes I think only starting August. And my sister saw that I had that I was doing the system. So she was so kind to do these cash envelopes. But if you are interested and you would really want to get your hands on a set of these, which is 6 envelopes, and then if you have a pet, you can let me know and I can give you like this one. This one has like paws, so I would assume this is for like pet, probably for like a child or adventures, travel. And then just these random ones, I guess I could say. And then it also will be coming with labels, and I have a set of labels. I mean, you don't have to get these labels, but if you want to get labels, the labels that will come with it, and I have like different fonts. I have that font, this font, and then this font, but I think I'm gonna keep this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs for like the most common ones that people tend to have, which is personal, groceries, entertainment, or fun money, and then gas, your emergencies for either spending or your real emergencies, and then medical. If you want to participate, then please you need to be subscribed to this channel. Give this video a like, follow me on Instagram if you have Instagram, and leave your Instagram handle down below. And my sister actually has her own business on Facebook, and she does a lot of customization on designs of any sort of designs, not envelopes in specific. And so if you guys are interested, you can definitely check her out, check her Facebook page, her Facebook business page, and I will link it down in the description down below so that you guys can take a look. And she does a lot of local sales. Like I said, she does a lot of customization, so she doesn't have a problem with customizing to your preference. So if you have a specific layout that you want, because these open from the top, but these other ones that are colorful, they open from the side. So if you want to take that in mind also, whenever you in the comments, you can let me know like which one you would like to be entered for. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Hasta luego. Adios.